Welcome, my friends. The news today is that Hollywood has cut 17,000 jobs in August amid ongoing strikes. BLS data showed a monthly decrease of 17,000 jobs in the motion picture and sound recording industries, reflecting recent strikes by Hollywood writers and actors. The report comes as other industries spur overall job growth across the country. The monthly figure shows the effect the dual strikes, which began earlier in the summer, are having on employment as the writers and actors push for better compensation. What does it mean for the economy? And, what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. And, before we continue, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is ProWorldNet.com. ProWorldNet.com is a job website specifically dedicated to licensed professions. Doctors, including any type of specialty. Nurses, and that includes all grades of nurses. Lawyers, regardless of area of legal focus. Teachers and professors, from kindergarten through graduate school. As well as any kind of job that requires a government license or certification. And ProWorld.net also includes short-term gig-type jobs as well. So, be sure to check out ProWorldNet.com if you are looking for a job or an employee. Hollywood's labor pool is taking a hit as the dual strikes by actors and writers drag on. The film, TV and music sectors shed a combined 17,000 jobs in August, reflecting strike activity, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics said Friday morning. In contrast, the U.S. economy added 187,000 jobs during the month, spurred by growth in the healthcare, leisure and construction industries. It topped the 170,000 jobs forecast, according to Dow Jones. The job losses for the motion picture and sound recording industries underscore one effect of the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA strikes, which began in May and in mid-July, respectively. In the months since, several notable films and shows halted or wrapped production early. Hollywood's massive work stoppage has also had a widespread impact on other sectors such as hospitality and real estate, costing California's overall economy an estimated $3 billion so far. Hollywood striking writers and actors are negotiating with legacy studios for better pay as streaming and the threat of artificial intelligence affect their compensation. Last month, Writers Union WGA said it received a new proposal from the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the body representing major studios like Netflix, Disney, and Amazon, to resume talks. It came after weeks of stalemate and slow progress. Hollywood hoped the writers' strike would end with summer. But a deal remains nowhere in sight. In the nearly 4 months since the Writers Guild of America, West, went on strike, television schedules have been shaken up, movies and shows have been bumped, once glamorous red carpets have gone dark, and the laughter of late night has died. A few weeks ago, when the pain of the enduring stalemate began to cause a wince, studios moved to reinitiate talks with the writers, eliciting a sense of cautious optimism in Tinseltown. It seemed that after an exhausting summer, rife with endless hours of picketing and rhetoric fueled by inflamed passions, hope was on the horizon. But those glimmers of hope for an elusive agreement turned out to be a mirage. Now, on the precipice of Labor Day weekend, a deal is nowhere in sight. Schools are starting back up, the weather is cooling, but Hollywood remains enmeshed in a labor dispute for the ages. Studio executives believe they have made strong efforts in recent weeks to end the standstill. Represented by the AMP, the studios delivered to the writers terms that they had hoped could be the starting point for a negotiation that would ultimately lead to an agreement. But they were deeply mistaken. The writers, represented by the WGA, scoffed at the offer. For them, it was grossly insufficient on a number of fronts. From there, the AMP tried appealing directly to members of the WGA by publicly releasing the terms of their offer. Perhaps, they had hoped, when the WGA membership base saw the offer for themselves, it would lead to a mutiny that could tilt the scales in their favor. The bold move signaled how confident the studios were in the offer they had put on the table. But it did little, if anything, to move the needle. Instead, it earned the studios yet another scolding from guild negotiators who ripped the studios for attempting to bypass them. Despite the AMP's attempt at a detour around us, we remain committed to direct negotiations with the companies, the WGA said last week in a note to members. That's actually how a deal gets made and the strike ends. That will be good for the rest of the industry and the companies as well. The guild might be committed to direct negotiations, but direct negotiations are not happening. Instead, the two sides are once again playing a game of chicken, waiting for the other side to make the first move. Each side firmly believes the ball is in the other party's court. The negotiations are in such despair that the two sides cannot even agree on the basic state of play. SAG-AFTRA, the union representing Hollywood actors and performers, has voted to go on strike against major studios. Union President Fran Drescher said in a press conference that it was time for studio executives to wake up and smell the coffee. SAG's primary purpose is to protect the rights and advocate for the interests of its members. The union negotiates and enforces collective bargaining agreements, CBAs, with producers and studios to establish industry standards for wages, working conditions, and benefits for its members. These agreements cover a wide range of entertainment media, including film, television, commercials, and digital productions. The union's national board made the decision after negotiations broke down with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. After a last-ditch effort, monitored by a federal mediator, the two sides failed to come to an agreement. SAG-AFTRA has around 160,000 members, actors in film and TV shows, as well as video game performers, radio presenters, models and YouTube influencers. Technically, the union only covers the US, but its global Rule 1 demands that members pull out of any production anywhere in the world. The union's president and figurehead is Fran Drescher, who you might remember from 90s TV show The Nanny. They plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. This is the union's choice, not ours, the AMP said in a statement. Rather than continuing to negotiate, SAG-AFTRA has put us on a course that will deepen the financial hardship for thousands who depend on the industry for their livelihoods. A preview of the A-listers putting their star wattage behind the strike came a fortnight ago when a SAG-AFTRA letter expressing willingness to strike was signed by the likes of Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Charlize Theron, Joaquin Phoenix, Jamie Lee Curtis, Olivia Wilde and Ewan McGregor. One of the union's main roles is to negotiate terms with the studios. The last major agreement was signed in July 2020, though it was almost immediately undermined by COVID. One of the main sticking points appears to be residuals, the payments that performers receive for repeat showings of films or TV shows, while the issue of who owns an actor's likeness if it is reproduced by AI is also a major flashpoint. SAG-AFTRA negotiators are demanding residuals partly based on viewership levels on streaming services, but the studios, which include streamers Netflix and Amazon alongside Disney, aren't willing to share the information. The studios have also pointed out that the climate for streaming is not good. They've had a lot of layoffs recently. Just before the strike was called, Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, told CNBC that the union's expectations are not realistic. SAG-AFTRA said in a statement that the streaming ecosystem has eroded the way actors get paid. The union accused the studios of refusing to acknowledge enormous shifts in the industry and economy and being unwilling to offer a fair deal. Ultimately, the goal is to get a great contract, said Jamila Webb, an actor from the Netflix series Family Reunion and Hulu's Reboot. The two sides reportedly had been at odds over several issues, including how much performers should get in residuals from the streaming platforms. Actors asked for higher compensation when the movie or series they're in are hits with viewers. There was also disagreement over the use of artificial intelligence. Actors say they don't want to be replaced by computer-generated images. They want control over where and how their likenesses are used. Streaming hasn't just killed the mid-budget movie or the linear TV series, it's also changed the way films and shows are presented to their audience and extract money from them in return. Streamers make money from subscribers, and the shows and films are essentially promos for the subscriptions. Plus they are just up there permanently, with no repeats as we would understand them, classic disruption, which makes it hard for traditional means of assessing their value in terms of paying people for them. Hence the argument over residuals, made all the harder by the streamers' reluctance to reveal how many people watch them. As shows and films on streaming platforms become ever larger and more widely watched, then the potential residuals become an ever more significant amount. 6 months ago, no one gave AI a second thought, but that's how fast things have moved, from zero to an existential threat. Right now, AI-generated imagery doesn't seem quite sophisticated enough to replace traditional filmmaking wholesale, but the speed of machine learning has got everyone worried. Acting is a bit like the sports world. There's a bunch of big money headliners, and then the rest, some of whom earn decent money, but most are on nothing like it. Matt Damon reminded reporters of the struggles of most U.S. working actors' lives. It's $26,000 to qualify for health coverage, and a lot of people are on the margins, and residual payments are getting them across that threshold. It's a very, very small percentage of the 160,000 plus member union that actually can make a living off of the work that we do, said actor Denise Cabanella, known for her roles in Adventure Beast on Netflix and the upcoming Frasier reboot. There is so much money that is in streaming that, these executives are keeping for themselves. The writers' strike has already halted most Hollywood productions, causing studios to delay or cancel upcoming movies and shows. Both sides are playing a long game, the actors and writers gambling that the product pipeline, already threadbare after COVID, will force the studios back to the table, while the bosses are taking the time-honored route of trying to batter the unions into submission. But, what do you think? Please leave us a comment below and hit the like button. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.